And we are live. Awesome. Great to have everyone here to the fourth SSV Community Call. Hope everyone can hear me. Yeah, you can hear me? Perfect. So we are quite a few people on the call. Maybe just go around really quickly. Just state your name and what you're doing, and then we can start. Mara, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Yeah, Mara here. Most of you have probably met me or interacted with me in the past. Currently managing business development over at Bison Trails and coming over from Consensus previously, where I was managing strategy. I've been supporting the SSV effort in various capacities for the last, I would say, 8 to 9 months. And yeah, excited for the fourth community call.
Awesome. Colin?
Hey everyone, Colin Myers. Interacted with most of you as well in different capacities. Happy everyone was able to make it to the call. Currently at Consensus, primarily focusing on a product called Activate, and have been helping out on ETH2 related items for a while now. And this is kind of another extension of a category that I'm helping out with. Happy to be here, and thanks for putting this together.
Awesome. I'm just going through the Zoom kind of squares. So Carl.
Yellow. I'm Carl. Got into the space and got involved with the EF via caring basically about SSV validators, and now I work on all things research at the EF.
Awesome. Lakshman, I hope I pronounce your name correctly.
Yeah, you got it. Hey, I'm Lakshman. I also work at the EF on ecosystem development, research, some other stuff. Have been following the SSV effort for probably less time than a lot of people here for the last few months, but pretty excited about it as a primitive. It seems like a really important tool for a whole bunch of secure validator setup stuff and a whole bunch of secure staking pool stuff.
Cool. Oysten?
Hey guys, Oshin here. I worked in Consensus up until about a year ago, and since then I've been self-employed and I've built ETH2 staking infrastructure for blockdemon.com most recently.
Cool. Dunkert?
Yeah, hi, I'm Dankert. I work at the ECM Foundation doing ETH2 research. I got into the whole SSV effort first about 2 years ago when I started exploring some ways of making the protocol more compatible with SSVs. And yeah, I mean, last summer I started more seriously doing it and built the first proof of concept SSV validator.
Cool. Aditya?
Hey everyone, I'm Aditya. I work at the Ethereum Foundation alongside Dankert and Carl. I work mostly on consensus stuff, and I'm looking at SSVs from the protocol level, looking at how to make the SSV protocol better and Ethereum nodes more secure.
Cool. Danny? Danny, you wanna present yourself?
Cool. Yeah, I'm at Stakefish. I do protocol research.
Awesome. Terrence?
Hey guys, Terrence from Prismatic Labs. I'm mostly known for my work for Prism. It's a E2 client written in Go. So yeah, super excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to learn more.
Cool. Jan? Jan, can you hear? Yeah. All right.
I'm going to assume that's me. Yeah, this is Jake B from Steakfish. I do strategy and operations at Steakfish. And yeah, I've been participating in the SSV call so far and excited to get the latest.
Perfect. Cool, Chris, you wrote you couldn't speak, so Chris is from Steakfish as well. Preston?
Hello, Preston here from Prismatic Labs. Happy to be here on this call and understand the latest on the shared secret for validators. We would love to help facilitate this functionality in our E2 client Prism.
Awesome. Philip?
Hi, Philip here. I'm mostly independent, and I am an Ethereum staker and currently involved within the Ethereum due diligence committee.
And Dimitri?
He may have headphone issues. Let's see if he chats.
Okay, let's give it a minute. Lior from Blocks is joining as well. Cool. My name is Alan. I'm from Blocks, and Lior, who joined us as well from Blocks as well. Awesome. I think we can kick it off. I've shared like the short presentation I did just so we have some visuals, and I'll present it as well. It's really short. Don't worry. It's a few slides. Let me know once you can see the actual presentation. I'm sharing my screen. Can anyone see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Perfect. So feel free to jump in and obviously ask or say anything. I just wanted to kind of summarize the progress we did the past few months since the POC back in 2020, and kind of where we're heading in terms of kind of a short, medium-term roadmap, and finish up with kind of phase one testing and kind of a call to action to anyone who's willing to help out with testing as well. So really kind of a quick recap of SSV. I'm sure maybe it's not necessary, but it's just a way to take a validator and split it up into different independent operators or nodes. And together via consensus, they can actually agree on what to sign for that validator, and obviously the duties it has, and obviously broadcast the proposal, the attestation, or aggregation signed into the beacon chain. And the key part, I describe it usually as a kind of a multi-sig with a consensus layer on top of it. And it opens up a lot of possibilities, which are probably difficult to do, if not possible, if not impossible, without this kind of architecture. So in terms of personal setups, just splitting up your validator into maybe different cloud providers or different machines, and of course making it more less susceptible for hacking or accidental slashings. Decentralized pools, of course, is an infrastructure and enterprise applications as well. We did a fireside chat last week, which specifically talks about all of those all about those different use cases. So feel free to see it. It's on YouTube as well. It's in the presentation of just click on the see Fireside chat link there. So kind of that's really in a nutshell as what is SSV, and it stands for Secret-Shared-Validator, of course. In terms of progress, the past, I'd say 2.5-3 months since the beginning of the year, December 2020 until now, we did a few things. So one, we applied for a grant from the foundation for auditing the code base, and we got it about a month ago, I think. And so that's exciting. I think it's a big step because it will enable us to actually put up a really great project people can be confident in using. We have all of the code bases in the first repository, GitHub repository there, but we'll be moving everything to a dedicated repository the foundation open up for us. Probably will take us a few weeks, but we'll move everything there. And so from the code base all the way to issue management and all of those things. In terms of development, what really we'll be focusing on is taking the POC, which was kind of a combination of IBFT and SSV nodes written in Python and connecting to a modified validator client, Prism modified validator client. It didn't really support, for example, proposals and stuff like that. And so really taking that and rebuilding it in Golang, but obviously building it from the ground up is something we know can take us into a quote unquote production ready project. And so that's the most of the work we've been putting into just building it from the ground up correctly. And of course, along with that, of course, documentation and Dockerizing the nodes themselves for easy deployment and all of those kind of peripherals to make it easier to work, and of course with the goal of actually hitting some kind of a testing phase where others can actually use it and just work with it. So that was a lot of the work we did, wrapping networking and so on and so forth, and just really basic cryptographic functionality. So splitting a key and reconstructing the signature. There's a lot of work we need to put into it, of course. For example, using some kind of a distributed key generation and so on. So there's still a lot of work in that part. But the exciting part is that we have a Pyrmont validator running for the past, I think, 2 weeks or so, and behind it there's 4 SSV nodes. So I've included a link to the actual validator, but it works pretty well. The effectiveness is not great, but on Pyrmont in general it's not great. But it seems to not miss too much and be pretty consistent, and so that's cool. We have something running in a staging environment, and it seems to be stable. Of course, all of the SSV nodes are running locally between themselves, so we don't really test for latency and stuff like that as of now. And the last thing was Mara and Colin released a light paper. I have the link here as well, which basically goes through the whole shebang. So from describing what SSV is and how it works, all the way to potential use cases and so on. Mara, if you wanna maybe in a few words about the light paper and what it includes.
Sure, yeah. So we released an initial SSV overview paper in, I think, something like July of last year. So it was definitely time to provide a more updated resource on this. So I linked it out in the chat. It's just an overview, as Elon just kind of walked everyone through, of the configuration, the different components that comprise an SSV validator, and then a short overview of the different use cases and stakeholders that can benefit from the implementation. So I'd recommend that if you guys want to just read up on progress and kind of how we're thinking about doing the deployment here, to kind of get up to speed on that. And again, if you guys have any feedback, anything you guys would like to see included here, let us know, and we'll make sure to keep this as an updated resources for the community to take a look at.
Awesome, thanks. Any questions or anything about the progress or anything, where we at and kind of what's missing, or anyone has anything wants to point out? Okay, well, if you remember, feel free to say something. Cool. So that's in terms of where we at. Where we going, at least in the short to medium term. So I'll split it into three. So one is we definitely need write up some kind of a spec and at least have some spec tests to go along with it. Other than just feeling more confident that the code does what it's supposed to do, it also makes it much easier to get others involved and have more people touch the code. If we have a good testing suite. So that's one concern, or at least one task we will probably tackle the next few weeks and months. And better test coverage, of course, goes without saying. Documentation is a big thing. Again, just to make have people feel more comfortable running an SSV node, contributing to, if they want, to the code base or in any way. And so documentation is a big part, and at least from kind of my experience with Ethereum to clients, I think that, for example, Prism did a good job in that, and it really helped people, connect quickly and kind of figure out how things working and get involved. So so that's kind of the second part of it. In order, we definitely need to work on networking. Networking works, but it's very limited in terms of what it can do, and so to get to any point where we can actually have a publicly test anything, we definitely need to work on networking and more specifically just the discovery mechanism there. And the last thing, or the last two things, is one is the audit itself and phase one testing. So phase one testing is just taking the code out of the lab, so to speak. So having other people other than us actually running an SSV node and see it in action in a real world situation where you have latency, where you have downtime, and so on and so forth. So and so that's kind of the big 6 things that we'll be trying to work on I guess the next 2 or 3 months, and the big thing kind of that marks the success of that is really the phase one testing. Cool. Move it along. So and that's where we kind of need your help in basically testing out at least phase one. So phase one for us is to have at least 7 SSV nodes. So kind of the numbers where kind of let's say the batching of SSV operators can be any 3F plus 1 combination. So 4, 7, 10, and so on. And so I think that 7 operators, 7 independent node SSV operators is a great start. All of them running currently a single Paramount validator, because the nodes themselves don't support more than 1 as of now. With really the focus on stability, station rate and effectiveness, and deployment and maintenance. And we're hoping to do that in kind of first or second week of April. And so from our kind of point of view is just a kind of a call to action to get anyone who's willing to help out with the testing. And and by help out, I mean basically just running an SSV node for a period of around 10 days on Pyrmont, of course, and just going through the ropes of setting up an SSV validator, maintaining it, and of course, if anything happens, try to to help out with logs and debug to try to figure out the problems. Colin, I know you started out with kind of a short list of anyone who's willing to help out. Maybe a few words, kind of how we're gonna organize it, and anyone who's willing to help out, how can they reach out, or maybe we can reach out.
Yeah. Hey everyone. So I guess when we've kind of been sketching this thing out and thinking about the best way to design it, we don't necessarily know today what the right answer is, but we need to get everyone's feedback. Making an effective testnet does have to do with everyone's capacity. So after the call today, I will be following up with just an email and an intake form and some description, goals, and kind of a loose structure to begin to structure what phase one would look like. The goal, as Elan alluded to, is around 7. We're looking for a healthy mix of at-home validators and like staking providers, and trying to start with some diversification at the beginning. But we just today wanted to keep it high level and let everyone know that it's kind of coming, and then more specific details will follow. But its success is really dependent upon everyone's feedback. So we'll get this thing architected and we'll coordinate it. But those of you who on the Prism front, you guys have participated in all of the testnets, obviously, and on the Stakefish front, on the other provider front, you guys have done multiple networks and have been through this in multiple capacities. So we'd love to hear from you guys, like what the best way is to pursue and structure, so that we can make it effective. But yeah, I'll follow up with more specific details and emails to everyone after we finish the call today.
Definitely, Terrence, Preston, if you guys can have in a few words any advice on going forward with kind of a basic testing, that will be awesome.
I would say for me personally, I definitely value documentations a lot more. So having proper documentation will be really helpful for our team. Just trust not everyone is on the same time zone. So having good documentation will be really easy to follow up and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. On top of that, we would appreciate some kind of success metric. I mean, obviously, like validator participation rate is a good metric, but what are you looking for specifically that we can provide in return to measure whether or not things are working well?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Hi guys, Lior from Blogs here. So just wanted to say about documentation. I think that's something that we will also look for in this testnet. I don't share the repository, and we added documentation there on how to run. So that could be like a quick peek on what we currently have and how in your preparation on how to run it on your end. So I feel like that's also important part of the test phase of the first test, and as well as what we're looking to test would be exactly that, like seeing if you have some problems with networking or problems with running it, so stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe some kind of yeah, I mean, we can use GitHub for opening up issues, but maybe a quicker way to do that, from a Telegram group all the way to maybe, I don't know, just a way for easily to submit issues and describe them.
Hey, it's JK from Stakefish. Yeah, just to second that on the communication part. I don't know what plans you have on where you're going to try to maintain the main communications, but it'd be good to just set that up so that we know where to troubleshoot if we do plan to like run on the testnet.
Yeah, let me just write it up.
We can what we can do is there's already a Secret-Shared-Validator subgroup inside of the ETH R&D on Discord. We could continue. I mean, it's mainly just used for updates today, so we could create a second sub channel. Or I guess my biggest question would be is I've been through this Discord and Telegram separation, also this Discord and Telegram bridge. Just quickly thoughts about Discord versus Telegram. Because they can, I would prefer to have like one channel of communication, but Discord today sounds like it's the best, but I know not everyone loves it.
At least for Stakefish, it's at this point pretty indifferent. We need to be pretty active on both, so I'd say both is pretty okay for us.
Okay, we'll circle back and see how we want to do that. In terms of, so two questions. One is we thought about doing at least the phase 1 testing like a 10-day period, and obviously then take it down and rethink of how we want to test it in the future. But is that a good setup, you think, having something quick and dirty in terms of testing, and then maybe consider something more long-term, or just because in terms of your time and resources and just the ability to do that?
I guess if no one has an opinion, I could just briefly just mention that like, I really do defer that to you, I guess, at the end of the day. Because like if you deem that to be long enough for sufficient testing, that's perfectly fine.
So what we thought was we want to do something pretty quick and dirty in terms of just seeing that it works. And then consider having maybe something more long-term where more participants can come in or dynamically actually, and create more validators and so on. That's kind of what our train thought. I mean, having something quick and dirty right out of the gate, if that works, and then in parallel going through audit and also expanding into a more, let's say, persistent testnet or testing environment where people can join in and out more dynamically.
Gotcha. I mean, ideally, when we do join, I think the most frustrating part, I think for us, our end, any of our teammates could chime in on this, but like has always been when there's testnets and then like it just doesn't work. It just hasn't even been tested in just a private environment. So like I would just make sure that at least it runs, because that's the most frustrating part, honestly, for us whenever we participate on testnets.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it, but we do already have it's not a local, it's in our staging environment. We do have a Premium validator run by 4 SSV nodes. So I'm more referring to semi-open or semi-public testing environment where not just we run it, but other people run it as well. Yeah. Of course, we'll try to get to a point where it actually runs and deploys easily.
And the goal for the first phase would be just to have a larger setup in the public and have it stable running, or are there also fault tests or whatever to showcase that it increases robustness or whatever?
I mean, we could add more tests to it, but I really want to do something basic where we see that it actually runs, focus on deployment and maintenance, and just seeing it running and understand that latency is okay, and we can actually have a reasonable attestation rate and reasonable effectiveness. Once we do that, I think it will be much easier to test other scenarios and so on, once we have at least the basics covered. Okay, cool. Calling, anything else about the phase 1 testing?
No, I think that's about it. Thanks everyone for giving your preliminary feedback. Again, it's really based on everyone's participation, so I appreciate you guys taking the time.
Cool. I don't know if you're comfortable in doing that, but can you guys? Oh, sorry. There's another. Oh yeah, okay. Danny asked, can you elaborate on the topic of how SSV helps prevent slashing? So the way it's set up is every node is connected independently to a beacon chain, and independently decides through consensus if the proposed attestation or proposal for the beacon chain is valid in their eyes. And if there's more than 2/3 which agree, then each of them partially signs the attestation data or the proposal data and broadcast it, and then anyone who saw those partial signatures can actually reconstruct a valid beacon chain signature and broadcast it. And so basically, instead of having just one point where decides everything to sign or not to sign, and which obviously can lead to accidental slashing or hacks and so on. Now you have a committee who decides, and you need 2/3 of them to actually agree. And so you just distribute the risks around. Yeah. Hope it answers the question. And it also it helps greatly in terms of just the robustness of your setup and ultimately also for the attestation rate, downtime, and so on. If you have 2/3 who need to sign, in a 7 SSV node setup, if one falls, the group can continue and sign and operate the validator. Cool. If you're comfortable, maybe we can do a kind of a show of hands who can or willing to help out with phase 1 testing, and so we can maybe focus later and take it offline to continue the conversation.
So I guess it's agreed that we'll do main communications on the ETH R&D channel, right? On the sub channel of the SSV channel under the ETH R&D. So for Stakefish, I think we'll just do a quick sort of internal meeting and then come to consensus, and then we'll just post our, whether we'll participate or not on that channel, if that works.
Awesome. Cool. We'll reach out and personally and ask everyone. And the goal, I think, is just at least getting 7 independent parties to test out, individuals or service providers. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions? Then I guess we are done.
Thank you for putting this together.
Thank you for participating. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
All right.